So, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do a 13 Pro Max charging port. I'm going to walk you through all the steps needed. Any questions or comments, anything that I didn't answer, leave a comment. I usually get back to those pretty quick. All the tools that you'll need will be in the description. And yeah, thank you for watching. So, I'm going to leave a link in the description for how to open a 12 or 13 series without breaking the screen. That is, pause the video, go and watch it, and then come back to this video. First and foremost, you always disconnect the battery before disconnecting any other component. Just because a device is powered off, there is still electricity running through the board. So just as a safety measure, make sure you don't short something out. Always disconnect the battery. Set your screen aside. So for the speaker, pretty simply just lifts out. We don't need that piece. I don't know why it's there. It's kind of annoying. You have to swap between all these different screwdriver bits. As you can see, the screws are mounting up. That is why it is so important to have a magnetic mat. So after we remove all of the screws, next up is the battery removal. There are two ways to do this. One is just with tweezers and pulling the tabs out. A trick that's helped me over the years is to use isopropyl alcohol, specifically 91 or 99. If you use 70 and you use too much of it, you can accidentally damage the motherboard. If you use 91 or 99, you could basically soak the entire phone and you're not going to damage the motherboard. So with this one, I did it dry just to show you that it's possible. But the key thing is you want to remove the speaker and or the Taptic engine because you want to pull as shallow of an angle as possible. So obviously, as you can see here, I applied a few drops. If it's starting to fight you, ideally don't go too fast. Apply a few more drops. The top is a little bit more difficult just because you can't remove anything. You're just sort of stuck there. So I use I apply a few, a little bit of alcohol. As you can see, your friend there is going to be wiggling back and forth. So pry up a little bit, and then that gives you enough room to wiggle the battery back and forth. And it comes out pretty easily. If it doesn't, once again, apply a few more drops of alcohol. So we have a few more screws and a retaining plate, and then the two flexes for the charging port, this one and the wider one. And then from here, it's just a matter of prying up on the parts of the charging port that have a little bit of adhesive, which are in the lower right and lower left. Be gentle with the microphone. They have a tendency to tear easily. Also with the microphone towards the left of the charging port, there's a little bit of foam that it's held in with. So if you need to use some heat, use a heat gun, warm it up. In this case, I'm using an iSesmo. And there you go. So if you're actually replacing the port, you don't need to be as gentle as me. I'm actually reusing this and transferring this charging port to another board. But yeah, charging port comes out just like that. So the tricky thing with the sort of newer flex cables is it's a pain to get them to align properly. So usually what I do is I align it, I'll snap it in first before I start to seat the charging port at the bottom, because you have a little bit of wiggle room there. You don't once all of your components are in. Anyone that's done a 7 or an 8 charging port on a 7 or an 8 or an SE knows what I'm talking about. So obviously now it's just a matter of reinstalling all of our screws. So something that I like to do here is I like to test that my charging port, that a charger will fit properly. Sometimes if they if it's not sitting at the right angle, it won't go in right. And let's just put it this way: it's really annoying to install all your parts and screws, find something is wrong, have to undo all that work. So I like to sort of test my work as I go along. So I know I mentioned this earlier in the video, but if there are any questions or comments or things that I didn't go over, or I don't know, problems you're having, just in general, number one, be as specific as possible. I mean, I assume if you're watching this video, you're working on a 13 Pro Max, but if you're not, you have something else. It's obviously a lot easier to sort of diagnose stuff over the phone, but if you're just doing it through comments, I'll be as helpful as I can, but just be as specific as you can. So coming up next is our battery adhesive. You can use double-sided tape. Obviously, these are really nice on the off chance that you're going to take apart the phone again. So two consumables: battery adhesives and the perimeter gasket. It's nice to get more than one of on the off chance that you mess up during an install. That tends to happen more with the perimeter gaskets than the battery adhesives. So before just laying down the battery, I like to connect the flex into the logic board first. Just make sure that you have the flex has enough reach to get to the board. On more than one occasion, I've not done that. So usually you can start at the top or the bottom. Doesn't make a difference. It does take a little bit of practice. I used to suck at these, which is why, like I said, ordering more than one in case you mess up the install. So disconnect your battery before connecting your screen, like I mentioned in the beginning. And then when wider flexes, rather than just pressing dead center, I will press on one side and then the other, so like right, left, left, right. You can accidentally bow the cable. That's not a good thing, especially considering how expensive these screens are. Even if this is 2 years from now and the screens are cheaper, yeah, be careful with those flexes. Yeah, so next up, if the adhesive starts lifting, use your spudger and sort of flatten it down. I used my tweezer right there, as you can see. So this is my little buddy, Remy. He's telling me to tell you to smash the like button. Sorry, I forgot to put autofocus lock on. But same thing with the other side. Just be gentle if it starts to lift. Use your spudger, flatten it down. And that's it. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.